accused of sexual assault misdemeanor on a couple of different cases. And I happen to know him through work, crazy enough. He created the system called Verified Call. It's for, he's the founder of it, but it's not just for adult related things. It's also created for like CEOs or lawyers, where they can use the system also. Like if you wanted to call and get advice, they would be paid for giving you that advice. Obviously it kicked off a little bit more in the adult world because we love to talk.
Also like Funkhauser and I have this conversation all the time. Like what we do is, I mean, look, for radio and general media these days, you got to be on every form of social media, every digital platform there is. And we always consider it a very good idea to follow people, whether it be on Twitter or Tumblr or what have you. Follow people in the adult entertainment industry. Why? A, boobs, but B, because you folks are always the very first
and B boobs.
And B boobs.
B boobs. In fact, run the whole raw size alphabet.
Hey, that's the part I like, the whole.
Right. You and me both. But you folks are the very first to figure out how to monetize every single new platform of technology when it comes out. And that probably goes for this verified call thing. But
yeah, we're smarter than we look. But yeah, so I happen to be in town. I dance in the city. I do something called feature dancing. That's a whole other part of a thing. But so I was in town, and he asked me if I wanted to come and speak to his girls at the college. And to me, that didn't seem very strange. I mean, I've spoken at USC a couple of times now and been invited to other colleges. So I said, hey, sure, I got some free time. I'll volunteer it and come down and hang out and, you know, kind of tell a little bit about who I am and my life and how I got here. And it was more about empowering women and being an individual and owning your own business and kind of, you know, if you are a stereotype or people are going to judge you, no matter what race, religion, or, you know, career, you know, you choose, do it because it's in your heart and that's what you believe is right. And if you're doing everything because you're a good person and you're, you know, giving back to people, then, you know, life will give back to you. It's kind of
a strong message of empowerment for girls making their way in the world. What was interesting is that you were named in this lawsuit, and I'm really curious to get your take, A, on this guy, and B, what's been said about you, because I think, well, I don't know about the guy, but on the part about you, way off.
When I feel untouchable, I try and make up for all the wrongs I did by living my life like a Cosby kid, jamming on the one like Theo and Stevie. I know it sounds crazy, but you gotta believe me. When I feel like I just can't make it through, I try to think, what would Cliff tell Theo to do? Man, sometimes it's just so hard to be a good person, to lift yourself up and try to be that better version.
iHeartRadio puts the spotlight on Jim Morrison.
The Doors retreated to the studio, where they sounded musically rejuvenated on the hard-rocking Morrison Hotel in 1970 and 1971's L.A. Woman.
Are you a lucky little lady in the city of light? Or did you know the lost angel? City of night, city of night, city of night, city of night.
Supporting tours were marked by continued police harassment, and afterwards, a depressed Morrison left the country with his wife Pamela, eventually settling in Paris to unwind and write poetry.
Until the end, until the end, until the end.
Without the support of his bandmates, Morrison spiraled irrevocably out of control, and he was found dead in his bathtub on July 3rd, 1971, the victim of an apparent heart attack. He was only 27 years old.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Doors coming up.
And now your iHeartRadio Home Theater Throwdown.
This week, catch up on more of your favorite TV shows on DVD and your digital stream with fresh seasons of Penny Dreadful, Reign, Duck Dynasty, The Leftovers, Silent Witness, The Code, and South Park, all available. Also out, Sir Ben Kingsley in the acclaimed miniseries Tut, and 2 new Peanuts animated specials, Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown, and He's a Bully, Charlie Brown, plus complete series box sets of The Wonder Years and Mission Impossible.
There's your iHeartRadio Home
Like most kids from a privileged white upper middle class suburban background, for a significant portion of his childhood, he was pretty convinced he was down. AD on the radio.
That's right, I know this. You're nothing but a punk bitch. You're nothing but a punk bitch. So walk away, yeah. You were talking about.
So we are joined in the studio today by the awesome Allie Haze, who, well, we were going to have her in to guest read the news. But as it turns out, she is the news this week. Now, I want to hold off and get to this a little later on in the show. But just to give you the cliff notes on the situation that landed Allie Haze in the New York Post, the Huffington Post, and literally every news outlet on the face of the planet. You've been named in a sexual harassment lawsuit filed by female softball players against their coach at a Christian college, correct?
Yes, it's wonderful.
yeah, fantastic. And this guy who I guess has been charged in the lawsuit. This guy called Kurt Ludwigson, is a guy you knew. Mm-hmm. You'd worked with him he created this phone service that allows you to talk to people that want to talk to you. What's it called again?
It's called Verified Call. Yeah,
Verified Call. Mm-hmm. And he has he coached a softball team. And
he coached here in California too. And then he got asked to go to that Christian college. They invited him there because he's a very good coach.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, like going through the article, what I can best tell from having read the piece in the New York Post is that you were asked to speak to a bunch of girls at a Christian college, a softball team, and you did something really, really cool. You sort of went in and spoke to them about female empowerment, about being true to oneself, about all manner of things that it would behoove women in this day and age to have in the back of their mind, making their way in the world. Mm-hmm. It really seems like you had their very best interests at heart. So to have you named in this lawsuit is a little squirrely. And what I'm unsure about is this dude, Kurt Ludwigson. His intentions, yours are pure as the driven frickin' snow, let me tell you. His intentions, there's a bit of a question mark over it. And I want to delve into this after the show, but I figure we'll probably do better if we hold off. This will be that radio tease where we'll go, we'll uncover it after we do the news with Allie Haze.
I'm good at a good tease. I'm good with a tease. I like that.
So we launch into our segment, My Witness News, in no way, shape, or form fair, certainly not balanced, with the lovely, talented, awesome Allie Haze. Vivid girl, penthouse pet, and all-around nice chick. All-around sweetheart, letting us know what is going on in the world. First and foremost, we usually check in with Funkhauser and see how he is.
Oh, yeah.
How are you? You came out from where you live in Vegas to be on the show this morning, correct?
Yeah. I drove last night in the rain and the thunder, thinking about how excited I was here to see you, and I don't get to see you again, but I get to meet Funkhauser, who's really freaking awesome.
Yeah,
so that's nice.
I provide the coffee.
Yeah.
So you drive yourself, like Vegas to LA, which is, a long trip, but
yeah, porn stars know how to drive.
But
know how to drive and read and. Sorry.
Only because I was looking. We follow each other on Twitter. I notice how I slid that in there so I can be like, Allie Haze follows me on Twitter.
I actually stalk you. I was talking to Funkhauser about that because he played the music in the middle, and I go, "Hey, that's 80s stuff," and he's like, "Yep." I was like, "Yeah, see, I pay attention."
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's just so cool. But I was just like, because I think you tweeted last night that you were on the road, and it was late, like 1, 2 in the morning or something like that, or maybe that's when I saw it. But did you drive overnight to get here?
Yeah. A lot of times I do. I had radio with Argentina yesterday, so via Skype. So I had to make sure I got that done at home because I obviously couldn't do that from the car. So I had a couple of things I had to get done and prepare. I'm working in LA tomorrow, shooting some new stuff. So I had to be super prepared, and I'd rather sleep less and get everything right and get all my ducks in a row.
Catch up later.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. It's because I wonder, like, having been in radio, like only now in the last year since I started doing sort of morning-ish radio, have people stop being like, oh, it's interesting to see you up before noon.
Right? Yeah.
And it's just like, it's so infuriating. But like, you do legitimately have a very different sort of like type of work schedule. If you are feature dancing,
crazy.
When do you knock off that? Like 2, 3 in the morning, something like that?
Yeah,
so
I wake up around like 7. I have to be ready. 7 p.m. I have to be ready by 9:30, and then I don't go on sometimes till 10:31, and then my second show, or 10:30 or 11, and then my second show's at 1. Sometimes the clubs don't close till 4. If I'm in a 24-hour city, they never close. So it's I mean, it gets a little crazy.
Yeah, I think our schedule is completely like the opposite.
I know it would be, sometimes I think it would be nice to have a schedule, some kind of structure, but then what would I do with myself? Be normal? No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my point, I guess, that I'm trying to make is here you are having driven all night. You have this very atypical work schedule where sometimes you probably have to be up at 6 a.m. or ready at 6 a.m. or sometimes you have to be ready at 7 p.m. when you roll out of bed and get ready to go feature dance for the rest of the night. And like, here you are, no matter what the circumstances are, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to do our little show. And I'm very impressed. You have a lot on the ball and you really seem to have it together. So thank you.
It's not little.
So
I'm
much
also
for
very
that.
proud of you. Since the last time I've talked to you in San Diego, you have done some wonderful things. You talked about achieving some certain goals, and you have done that. So congratulations,
yes.
my friend.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, we are no longer languishing in digital obscurity. We are now part of we are now part of the stellar lineup at Real Radio 104.1 in Orlando, Florida, which is actually, as it turns out, when we heard a station was going to like put us on, we're like, really? Us? It's a very Wayne's World moment, being like, excuse me, a baking powder? Sounded like you were going to make this a real show. And but it turns out they're this powerhouse of a flamethrower radio station, pretty much the biggest radio station in Central Florida. So we are.
May I?
Jack, the program director, doesn't like it when you do it in the middle of the show.
I'm just not going to do it like to cut you off. I'm just
okay.
May I?
All right.
May I?
Once, yes.
Real Radio 104.1.
There. I feel much better.
Good. This time Funkhauser was allowed to press the button. So yeah,
I asked first this time. It's okay.
And I danced.
Yes.
Excellent. So we'll get into exactly what's been going on with you and this case that's been run up the flagpole in the Huffington Post and New York Post and all the above after we get into the news. Allie Haze, guest news girl, what is going on today?
Ooh, do I get to pick one or do I have to go in order, sir?
You have to go in order.
Dang it.
Otherwise, I'll get confused.
Dang it. Okay. All right. Well, ABC Family has picked up a series based on Nicki Minaj's life, which is very interesting. I did not look into this one. No offense, Nicki. I just, I guess I've seen a little blurps here and there about what's going on. And obviously she's a very eccentric woman, but it kind of seems like it taps into a little bit of her, I don't want to say softer side, but more of what makes her a very much of a powerhouse of a businesswoman, which I kind of think might be really cool to see.
Well, ABC Family, Nicki Minaj, not two things that you would think would go hand in hand, but
That's
apparently
what
they
I'm
are.
saying. Yeah, I think it's going to be like a good breakout kind of thing, a different side of Nicki that everybody really knows is there.
The backside.
Yeah.
or it could be about a mean-spirited, minimally talented woman who rises to fame based mostly on surgically enhanced butts, but either or, potato. Are you a fan?
I do enjoy some of her hits, yes. A fan per se, I am not. What does she call her followers? Aren't they called something?
Are they?
Yeah, they're called her. She has something that she calls her peeps. Oh my gosh, I'm about to ask Siri. Siri, help me. Gosh, what are they? They're called her. It's something to do with small. Her barbs. Boom, I won. Yeah, she calls them her barbs.
Barbs with a Z.
Yeah, like if you're a Nicki Minaj follower, you're one of her little barbs. I'm not sure what the reference is to. Is it like barnacles on a sea urchin or like bars in her bra? I don't know. Like,
did you know what on fleek meant when it became part of the vernacular?
No, I still don't know.
What is fleek?
Yeah.
Isn't that
on
when
fleek?
you
Help, teach me.
when you spit on somebody? Or no,
No.
Let's leak.
Yeah.
That's gleek. On fleek is, I guess, when you really have it together. And I think Nicki Minaj brought the term about because I think she had her eyebrows done well, or someone had, and she's like, eyebrows on fleek, and whatever. Anyways, that was it crept into the hip hop vernacular, and everyone was using it. And I was like, okay, I'm out.
That is pretty crazy because the generation below us, that's going to be in the new dictionary. She just created like a new dictionary word. That's kind of awesome. I'm not saying it's the best one, but it is pretty cool to be able to create a word.
I like some listener. So I said something nice on the radio for a change on one of the stations I'm on in Texas, and someone was like, "Your soul is on fleek." I was like,
Thank you.
"What? Huh? I don't know. I'm not sure if that's a good thing." And so I had to look up I had to go to UrbanDictionary.com and figure out what on fleek was. I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's good." I'm officially out of the demo when it comes to the hippity hop music, but I still like this hippie dog.
The hippity hop, that's great.
Snoopy,
don't stop
Snoopy has a
talking.
new thing out there.
The Snoopy. I like the
Suppertime
next
on
one.
fleek.
I do like the next one, though.
Go on then.
Yeah. Kim Kardashian's due date is December 25th.
Yeah, Christmas baby.
A Christmas miracle. Hey, I can say there are some pretty cool memes and photos like around right now where people are like showing Kim Kardashian with a baby and putting Kanye's face on it. And I think it's very hilarious, but there's some creative people out there.
I would imagine that Kanye's probably not happy only because Yeezy hates sharing his birthday. He's like, "Oh, man. I'm never going to get presents."
That was some good ones.
Thank you very much. Go on.
All right. Paul Walker's daughter is suing Porsche for her father's death. Also suing Porsche?
Yeah, also suing Porsche. Middle-aged dudes everywhere whose junk didn't magically enlarge after buying one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, I used to live in Canyon Country. It's really crazy. I drove by the site where that whole incident happened.
Did you ever get to ride in a Porsche?
Super surreal. You know what? I have never been in a Porsche. I've been in a Tesla.
Oh, yeah?
What was that like?
Here they're quiet.
Yeah, super quiet. It's really crazy. It literally sounds like nothing. It's almost scary in a sense because it's just so quiet and you're moving. It feels like the Disney ride, like
Autopia.
Yes,
or something?
yeah. That's totally. Yep, that's totally what it feels like. It is pretty intense. I don't know if I could own one myself.
Whenever I'm standing there and an electric car pulls up behind me, like it literally feels like you've been snuck up on because they make no sound whatsoever, and you'll turn around and there'll be an electric car there where there wasn't one before, and you're just like, "Holy crap! Oh man!" I find it to be a little unsettling. Also, I don't know about you, but
magic.
I drive a 2002 with a tape deck in it. And as you can imagine, there's a certain amount of rattling that happens in that. And the engine noise covers it up. And if you have a silent engine, if it makes no sound whatsoever, when you wind up with a car that's on its way out, like I rely on engine noise to cover up all the things that make me go, "I hate my life" as I'm driving down the road. So I can't imagine that.
I drive an F-250 like a man.
Yeah.
Really? All the way from Vegas?
Super loud. I didn't drive my truck this time. I also own a very affordable, gas-efficient Ford Fusion.
Oh, just like the commercial.
Yeah. Which I love. It's a great car. But I'm a Ford girl, so you might find me on the road dead one day.
Hopefully not.
What else is going on in the world?
Oh, what else we got? Oh, the Biebs. Justin Bieber laid down the rules for taking a photo of him. Look at you go, all childlike and whatnot.
Here are the rules for taking pictures of me. Number 1.
You know, I don't really think you can do that. I don't think you can make the rules for taking photos of you. That's one thing I don't understand. It's like people, you chose this life. Nobody told you had to do this. So what, there's good and bad that comes with everything. I mean, same with my career. So just accept it, embrace it. Obviously, the benefits are much better than the negative stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Justin Bieber, not as well adjusted as you.
Right. Well, I mean, every single freckle is online, so I don't got much to hide.
Not a big limb there.
Yeah.
The first rule of taking photos with Justin Bieber is before you approach him, you must examine your life and determine exactly what went wrong and why in God's name you want your picture taken with Justin Bieber. So I'm driving around, flipping through the radio stations as one does, checking out the competition the other day, and I hear something. I was just like, I don't actually despise this.
Was it Nicki Minaj?
I wonder what this is. This is kind of, I don't think I've heard this guy before. Who is it? And then the jock comes on. I was like, "Hey, the latest from Justin Bieber." I was like, "Ah!"
Yeah, he got
Look
me
what
too.
that agent of Satan did to me. I was just like, already that little spud sent to Earth via Canada by Satan to ruin everything for all of us is lowering my internal bar, and I thought for one tiny second that it was okay to listen to Justin Bieber and tap my foot. It was not.
Right? He's like the...
This is USA Headline News. I'm Melody Burkett. The Coast Guard believes a cargo ship that went missing off the Bahamas last week has sunk. Before the ship's communications were lost, one of the missing crew members relayed a message to their family.
We're heading straight into it. Category 3. Last we checked, winds are super bad and seas are not great. Love to everyone.
The Alfaro had 28 Americans on board when it sent a distress call Thursday after sailing into Hurricane Joaquin. A Coast Guard spokesman says search crews have recovered survival suits and at least one contained human remains that could not be identified. The Coast Guard says the search for survivors will continue. A U.S. general says an airstrike that hit a Doctors Without Borders hospital in Afghanistan was called in by Afghan forces. General John Campbell did not specify if the airstrike hit the hospital, but said several civilians were accidentally struck. The airstrike killed 22 people. For the USA Headline News, I'm Melody Burkett.
Do you have trouble remembering names or where you left your keys? Ever feel like you're just in a mental fog? Over 140 million Americans over 40 suffer age-related memory loss. That's because, as we age, our brains stop producing vital neural peptides, making it harder to retain important information. In fact, by age 50, the average person has lost half their short-term memory capacity. That's why a team of neuroscientists created Cebria, a medical miracle shown in a double-blind clinical trial to dramatically improve short-term memory in just 30 days. Better memory and clarity can boost your career and help you enjoy time with your kids and grandkids. Call 800-413-8643 now to receive a full 30-day supply of Cebria risk-free. Dramatically improve your memory with Cebria. Just call 800-413-8643. That's 800-413-8643. 800-413-8643.
It's trending. This update is brought to you by TrueCar. Find the new car you want, see what others paid, and lock in guaranteed savings from TrueCar certified dealers. Save time, save money, and never overpay. Download the TrueCar app today. In Week 4 of the NFL, on Sunday night, the Saints beat the Cowboys 26-20 in overtime. New Orleans quarterback Drew Brees tossed his 400th career touchdown. It was an 80-yarder to C.J. Spiller on the second play of overtime to win the game. Late games a note on Sunday, Packers beat the 49ers 17-3. Green Bay's 4-0. Broncos hold off the Vikings for a 23-20 win. Denver's 4-0, while the Cardinals suffer their first loss of the year, losing at home to the Rams 24-22. In early games a note, Redskins get a late touchdown pass to beat the Eagles 23-20. Colts down the Jaguars 16-13 in overtime. Indy wins without quarterback Andrew Luck, who didn't start because he was injured, didn't play. Bears get a late field goal to beat the Raiders 22-20. Baseball last game of the regular season. Rangers clinch the AL West title. I'm Eddie Garcia.
iHeartRadio puts the spotlight on James Taylor.
Born in Boston in 1948, James Taylor began playing the cello as a child. He switched to guitar and started to think about being a musician full-time when he met guitarist Danny Korchmar. They formed a folk band called The Flying Machine. It started out well, but eventually James and Danny were overcome with addiction and they disbanded, leaving Taylor to move to London in a last-ditch attempt to break the habit. While there, he submitted a demo tape to Peter Asher, a scouting talent for the Beatles' new label, Apple. His first album, entitled simply James Taylor, was not a success, but it did get him noticed.
And ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind.
Taylor released his breakthrough album, Sweet Baby James, in 1970. It went triple platinum and spawned his first top 10 hit, the intensely personal Fire and Rain. The following year saw the release of another million seller, Mudslide Slim and The Blue Horizon, with the #1 single, You've Got a Friend, written by his longtime friend, Carol Kane.
Just call up my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running. Oh, yes, I will see you again.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more James Taylor coming up.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall.
Welcome to today's lottery drawing. And today's winning numbers are not yours, not yours, and another number that's not yours. And the final number is not yours.
When it comes to having money, don't rely on luck. Brew your own coffee at home instead of buying that latte. Brown bag it to work instead of ordering it. Go to feedthepig.org for more free ideas on how to save. Feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
We are joined on the show today by the awesome Allie Haze, penthouse pet, vivid entertainment girl, nerd, all-around sweetheart, and someone who's caused a little bit of controversy in the news of late thanks to a recent article in the New York Post. We will get into exactly what happened with that and with her role in it after she finishes reading the news. You having a good time so far, Allie?
I'm having a great time. I got a lot of coffee in me, and I get to watch Funkhauser play his air guitar. It's really awesome.
You feeling like Tom Brokaw today? Or Hoda Kotb? Maybe Kathy Lee?
Let's go with Kathy Lee, because I can say that one. She's very entertaining.
We're missing the wine. That's the only thing that we don't have.
Kathy Lee gets
does.
wine? Well, let's go with
there.
like Bloody Marys or mimosas. It's really early in the morning.
I think Kathy Lee doesn't like Kathy Lee and Hoda when they're on that show, right? Because like I usually roll into the studio to start working. I go on the air at 3. I roll in around noon, and I'm always catching like the tail end of what they're doing. They're legitimately wrecked on the air, right? Funkhauser, they're like drunk out of their mind.
They start at like 7 in the morning, and they're on at 10. So by the time they're on, they're like, "Here's the news."
But it's really good, though. It's like hilarious. They've found a very good boundary. You know, like some people accidentally fly off the handle when they, get a little bit in them, but they always stay so focused and like on topic. Every now and then there's like a bad word slip, which is hilarious because they feel genuinely like awful about it. They're like, oh my gosh, I just offended poor, kids that are having to watch the show because their parents are making them because it's on. It's like, it's super cool. I think they're great. There's my California lingo. Super cool.
Super like awesome.
It's like so great.
No, they've definitely sort of like found their own little niche in the entertainment world. Like who knew the drinking with old broads market was so bountiful? But I guess I think they're working on the assumption that that there might be people at home being like, you know what, I'm going to have a little drinky. Like if Hoda and Kathy Lee can day drink, why not me? Like mommy drinks because you cry.
Of like MILF. Or like GILF, or they are the creators, they are the founders, they are the originals. All
right. Well, Funkhauser and Allie too, because you like chicks. Kathy Lee or Hoda?
Kathy Lee or Hoda? Man, that's a tall order. Can you give me a third option?
Third option?
No, that's what we're talking about.
All right,
you must answer.
Because I saw No Makeup Day once, I'd have to go with Kathy Lee.
Because you saw.
They did one to celebrate No Makeup Day today, and they went on TV without makeup. And I went, okay, that one.
Oh, well, aren't you sweet?
Yeah.
I would say both. I'll do one and then the other. And then I'll decide on who I want to keep in my dungeon.
What are you talking about? Capturing them and keeping them in your basement or something else?
Isn't that what you do with your lovers?
Me?
Yeah. Capture them and keep them in basements?
See, I don't... I am, you know what? I am using a Google image search to make my decision.
Oh, my gosh.
And I've been scrolling here.
Make sure you use the right head.
I am going to go...
I just made Funkhauser giggle. That was so cool.
I'm going Kathy Lee. I'm going Kathy Lee. Kathy Lee, for some reason, looks like she knows tricks.
Yeah,
also,
I'm behind you too.
Blonde stick together. Oh, you're behind him too. Oh, there's a 3. Never mind. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Not really.
Oh, well, you were all excited about it.
I'm in agreement.
Okay.
Not literally.
I know. You got to watch your verbiage with me.
Wow. Sorry. I went down an interesting wormhole when I did a Google image search for Kathy Lee. When she was young, quite the piece.
Mm-hmm.
I bet
But
you
in a-
there's
in a-
probably some nudes out there of her.
In a very, very Marsha Brady sort of way as well. She was, She's a handsome woman. Yes, I'm sticking with my my Kathy Lee decision. Let's roll through the remainder of the news because I really want to talk about this article in the New York Post.
And you were like on top of it with these subjects. Well, one of my favorite things to do on Sunday, Thursday, and Monday. Football. Tom Brady said he does not actually endorse Donald Trump for president. Who would have thought?
Well, because I think it came out that he did endorse him for president, and now he's walking that back as his popularity sort of starts to deflate.
Of course. Just like,
Right.
Exactly. You said it. Deflate.
Yeah.
Run away while you can. Run away while you can.
Yeah. So get ready for...
I should be nice to New England fans because I am going to Rhode Island really soon.
Yeah.
I love you guys. Come see me. I'll be at Cadillac.
I made a joke on one of the stations about Tom Brady. I think I just referred to him as like, I don't know, I think I said the New England cheaters. Nothing really like crazy. And the amount of angry email I got from people, they're like, your ratings will now plummet. You don't realize how many people from Boston live in Texas and your days are done. I was like, get a grip. But I was like, note to self, people in New England don't have a sense of humor about this sort of thing. I'll just leave that one alone. But yeah, Tom Brady
talking about football.
Tom Brady does not endorse Donald Trump for president. He wants to make that clear. So get ready for a handsome, ultra-rich, 4-time Super Bowl champion who's married to a supermodel to be called a loser by Trump. That'll stick.
He's a loser.
No, he's fired.
He's fired.
Yeah. The Apprentice. He'll never be allowed on the show.
Go on.
I like this one, though. Science says that by 2050, sex with a machine will be more common than sex between humans. Totally believe it. Without a doubt, obviously, because I see the technology, within that realm of a world first. There's now this new, I guess you could call it toy or device out where I can be on one end with this device that looks like your member, like a man's member. And on the other end, there is something like a fleshlight, per se. I'm trying to use the best descriptions here, where, someone puts their member in on the other end and we're Skyping with each other. And I use my part of the machine and his part of the machine does what my hand is doing on
so it's
my
like
part.
One Lego piece and another Lego piece, and they get together.
And the way I'm touching my piece, you feel completely on the other end because it's all connected. Isn't that totally crazy?
So that's technology.
That's insane. So by 2050, sex with a machine will be more common than sex between humans.
I believe
By the way, dear science, in my house, the future is now. This is why the Roomba spends most of the time in the corner looking ashamed of itself.
Jamming on the one like Theo Huxtable. Days like this when I feel untouchable. I try and make up for all the wrongs I did by living my life like a Cosby kid. Jamming on the one.
iHeartRadio puts the spotlight on AC/DC. Powerade from 1978 became their first album to be released worldwide at the same time. The single Sin City reached number 24, their best charting single at that time. Highway to Hell was AC/DC's big U.S. breakthrough in 1979, reaching number 17 and spawning hit singles Girls Got Rhythm, Touch Too Much, and of course the title track. On February 19th, 1980, Bon Scott passed away. AC/DC considered disbanding, but at the urging of Scott's parents, they decided to continue and brought in Brian Johnson as their new lead singer. 1980's Back in Black was dedicated to Scott and became the band's biggest hit. The title track, Hell's Bells, and You Shook Me All Night Long were all major hits. The album has become the second best-selling album of all time worldwide and the fifth best-selling in the U.S. AC/DC's self-produced album Flick the Switch in 1983 was less successful than their previous releases. After his drum parts were complete, Phil Rudd was dropped from the band and he was replaced by Simon Wright. All things AC/DC, info, music, and more are on iHeartRadio, keyword AC/DC.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Mike Rutherford to discuss the art of songwriting.
I've learned one thing over the years is that actually you can't control it. You can't force it. You can't analyze it. You can't worry about it. You just go and have a good time and mess around, and then something comes along and you grab it. It's something intangible, and if you try and make a program how to do it and do it better, you get lost. So it's like a free-form thing, which you can't control. You just let it ride or not ride. And if it's not working, then you just have a break. That's what I've learned.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Mike Rutherford and all your favorite artists.
Now, someone who everybody wants to punch in the face. AD on the radio.
So let's bail on what remains of the news today, only because, well, the person we have guest reading the news, the awesome Allie Haze, penthouse pet, vivid girl, super nerd, and all-around charming individual, is actually the news. You've been written up pretty much on every single. I don't want to say legitimate news outlet because that makes other things sound like they're not, but mainstream, I suppose. We're talking New York Post article, Huffington Post.
It was on Fox
all
Sports
over the place
too. Can you believe that? I was on Fox Sports. This topic was on Fox Sports. I was like, what the heck? It's crazy.
That's downstairs, from here.
Oh, hi guys.
What's up, Fox Sports?
Right.
So let me ask you this: let me give people that aren't familiar with the story the Cliff Notes. You were asked by this guy, a college softball coach, guy by the name of Kurt Ludwigson, to come in and talk to his college softball team.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And as it turns out, the guy has been he's been sued. He's been sued, or break it down. What are the charges that have been leveled against him at this stage in the game?
You can look up the lawsuit because when I was being interviewed by reporters, they had like the complete breakdown. But it's basically misdemeanor sexual assault in a lump sum is what's happening. He is being accused of slapping the girls on the butt during games. Licking their ears when talking to them. Just
you can't do that anymore?
I know, right? I thought that's how you start a sentence, like turning on the microphone, lick it first, make sure it's on.
Yeah.
But so doing some very interesting things, I guess. And personally, I have never experienced any or felt that he was strange in any way on my trip there. So I'm definitely feeling confused and indifferent about this because when I left that situation, and I went there and talked to the girls, like we said earlier, about like positivity, women, being a powerful woman, being an individual, what you can do with your life, don't judge people, like a whole broad spectrum of things. And when I left there, I felt very uplifted. I felt like I did a good deed, and none of the girls felt overwhelmed by my presence. And I even personally told them, hey, if you don't want to talk to me and you don't want to ask me questions, don't feel like you have to. It's all good, I'm just here for the people that do, and the people that don't, you're more than welcome to scream and tell me I'm going to go to hell if you want. I mean, at least let's talk, I thought it was really, really good. But apparently one or two of them feel indifferent about it. And I said to a reporter the other day, I'm like, man, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if it really happened. But if it is, I hope maybe my empowering woman, like I'm more power for sticking up to you. If something bad happens to you and somebody touches you without your permission, stand up, say something. Man, woman, child, say something. That's the number one thing. But there's also a consequence to the opposite side. If you speak up, you could ruin someone's life. There's two ways to look at this. And for me, the articles are focusing on how crazy it is to have an adult film star speak at a Christian school. Well, if it turns out that this is all a lie or it's made up, and like I said, I'm not saying that, and I support if someone's standing up for themselves, but if that's the truth, I hope people look about how odd it's going to be for a Christian to lie as just as odd as it is for a porn star to show up at a Christian school. Because it's like, and those are kind of the same in two hand. But it won't end up that way. It's cooler to call me a creep, and I'm down with it.
Well, I mean, it does seem a little unfortunate, really, because knowing you, having dealt with you on a regular basis, there was this kind of one thing I didn't care for when I read the article. I was like, there's a couple ways you can interpret this set of facts, but like something I read somewhere was just like. It made sort of it hinted at there was a little subtext of you perhaps like recruiting for the adult industry there, and I was just like, I know this girl and I know how she goes through life. I think just based on having met her and had her on the show a couple times, and I just out of every single person that I've ever met, whether they do what you do or not. You are the most live and let live person, or one of the most live and let live people on the face of the planet, and I can't see you ever trying to coerce anybody into doing anything whatsoever.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. Life is way too short, and I tell people, I don't go advertising my, favorite crazy sexual experiences, because if that's not something you've done, I don't want to be the person that entices you to do that. You need to decide on your own when you're ready to do whatever you want to do, whether it's sexually or not. I am not anyone to coerce or but if you want to ask me how cool it was, I'll totally tell you. But other side of the spectrum, not my thing. I did get really lucky. New York Post called me and the New York Daily News and let me kind of tell my side of the story, and they've since then printed my side of the story, which they left some cool parts out, but it does kind of show that I'm not necessarily saying what happened was good or bad or what the truth is, but I know what happened while I was there, and I know what I witnessed. And the other thing is like, his assistant coach, which was really cool. I'm accused of taking two girls into a room by themselves and having, one-on-one personal talk. And it's like, that was not even what happened. They asked him if they could talk to me in private because they had some private questions, and they didn't want him to be in the room, and they didn't want the other girls to see that they were talking to me for a long period of time. So we went into his office with his assistant coach, mind you. So it was me, the assistant coach, and these two girls talking to me. I never put myself in a situation where anything could be made up or construed, because it's unfortunate that people do take advantage of those situations if they can. And here, I'm like, this is crazy. And on top of that, for him to be accused of this, his assistant coach is one of his old players from the California school. She graduated and then got offered a job by him at the college once he moved out there, and she then moved her whole life and went to work at this school. I don't think if he was doing all these things, in my mind, it's like, would he have an individual follow him across, you know what I mean, across the states to take a job if he was really doing these things?
I think one of the important things to note when you're breaking down the situation of two of the players on the team going into his office with an assistant coach, it's worth noting that she was a female. And I mean, it really seems as though the kind of one-on-one, or there were two of them, and wanting to look, if you're in college, one thing I really admire about kids that or actually anyone, because a lot of people close their mind off as they get a little bit older, but when people have a bit of a seeking mind, when they have this idea that hey, I don't understand this, but I would like to understand it. I would like to have a deeper understanding of someone else's experience that is not mine.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of what can help the world go around. If you are quick to condemn anyone else's life or anyone else's beliefs, then that leads to people digging in, and that doesn't do anybody any good. Whether it's politics or whether it's any kind of profession or lifestyle decision or any of the above. And this goes absolutely both ways. If someone is a little bit more free and easy and lives a life that is not as structured in any way, shape, or form, not just limited to the adult industry, but if you live a life that's a little bit non-traditional that a lot of people don't understand, well, I find a lot of those folks are quick to condemn, oh, look at those merry-go-normal 9-to-5ers, and that doesn't help. And if the merry-go-normal 9-to-5ers is just look at that wild and crazy person destroying the fabric of society, that doesn't help. But when a student at a Christian college goes, hey, I've got an opportunity to speak to one of the biggest one of the biggest, most prominent performers in the adult industry, and I would like to know a little bit more. Well, no, it's absolutely true. It's just like if you have an opportunity to speak to someone whose life experience differs so much from yours and what yours will probably entail going forward, and you want to get a better understanding of it, I think that's a great thing, and you gave them an opportunity to do it. And also with the assistant coach there, it seems like you did it in a purposefully safe environment. So
of course. You know, the fact that everybody's missing is that these are adults. They are young adults, but they're also adults. So if they are strong enough women to speak up now, they also had the right to speak up then. And, you know, they could have walked out of that. I went to their practice first. Like, I watched them practice, do drills. I tried to do a couple with them. I couldn't keep up with them. Not even close. I tried to participate. And at any moment, one of them could have walked out and said, hey, I'm not comfortable with this conversation. I need to go. And no one would have, made them stay there. I mean, not by my knowledge. Like I said, a lot of these accusations that are happening where I'm being tied into this lawsuit, I wasn't there when a lot of it was being said, but they make it sound like I was standing right there and condoning all these actions. And I'm like, if he said that before I showed up, if he told them that they had to have questions for me, that they had to stay there, I'm sorry. I was never under the impression that they had to do anything, So that's another side to it. But once again, I always have to go back to the fact that God forbid this stuff comes out to be true. I will shake their hand and say, that's an empowered woman. Thank you for standing up for yourself and showing others that they can too. But at the same turn, if it's not, come on now.
Well, honestly, I think, look, the whole situation is a little unfortunate, but I do believe that, you're having some light shined on you, and it's given you an opportunity to, I think, in a lot of ways, lead by example. No matter what it is you've chosen to do for a living, I think you are one of the most sort of giving of spirit, well-adjusted people that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting in the world of entertainment. Like, you really, really are. Like, just so down to earth, so normal, and also so. I think you have a very sort of kind-hearted spirit when it comes to dealing with anybody else. Like, you've made some, you've made some very sort of like, you've made some decisions in your life and felt good about them. And I think, come from a place of understanding that, hey, I've done something a little bit unusual. Therefore, who am I to cast any sort of aspersion on anyone else? And I honestly feel as though your attitude is a little bit of what America really needs right now. Like, I really do. And I think, there's a good opportunity for you to lead by example. Doesn't matter if you're in the adult industry or not. Just, the fact that you've got some attention and the fact, which you always have, but it's a different type of attention this time out. And the opportunity you have to lead by example here is a fantastic thing. So, Allie Haze, making the world a better place. Still not cool. Oh, like, you're so nice and you're so sweet. And
I'm getting all of 80s positivity today. I'm like, it's like raining. I love it.
One tries. The only downside to knowing you and having you on the show, as Funkhauser and I were talking about it, just like it really puts a crimp in our web surfing experience when I have a little bit of me time, which is not that often. I'm like, oh, let's see what the world of the internet has to offer. Clickety click. Oh, it's Allie. It's like seeing my sister. No,
right? I say I'm the worst advertiser for myself. I really am. Like, when somebody meets me and hangs out with me, they all have the same opinion. I'm like, is this good or is this bad? That I'm deterring people from clicking on me. The more clicks, the better.
Yeah, sorry, can't do it.
I'll continue to click. I'll represent.
Funkhauser's got my back. That's right. Click away, my friend.
So we're about out of time, but this has been an awesome one. Real quick, let people know what things Allie Haze are on the interwebs that they can click on that I will not, because you have a new website coming, right?
Yeah, I'm going to do a new website. It's going to be called Allie's Playhouse, which is ALLIE and then Playhouse. And you can follow all my updates, where I'm going to be, if I'm going to be in your city, if I'm dancing, I'm signing, all that. Please follow me on Twitter, which is at Allie Haze, which is ALLIEHAZE. And then you can follow me on Instagram, which is brand new to me, so give me a little break. I'm kind of slow with the internet things, but it's Allie Haze. So have any more questions, you can find me there. Thank you guys for listening. I totally appreciate it. And thank you, AD and Funkhauser, for having me. Lots of fun.
Yay! Thank you so much, Allie Haze. We will be back tomorrow. We'll do this all over again. Have yourself a good one. Appreciate you listening. Go follow Allie Haze on Twitter.